Hello guys. So I just did that team review video and someone else thought it was helpful and asked to do another one. So I'm glad to do that. If people find it useful, then I'm happy to do it. So this time it's going to be the Radiant team. Um, Again, we have a 4-stack with one random that they got from a lobby, which blows my mind. I have a group of friends, and when we play with 4 people, we don't even think about like getting someone else. But that's like much smarter, I think. So we won't worry too much about the drow. Um, this question was specifically asking, well, several things. One about kind of transitioning to a core as a support player, or like starting from support and ending up as a core, which I think is fine in a lot of lower level pubs. So this is like Crusader to Archon, which actually isn't technically low level. I think that's about average. But essentially, the lower MMRs you go, like there's 2 ways to win a game. Essentially, you're really strong early and you win quickly, or you scale late and you win that way. And obviously, there's like a range in between there. And the reason a lot of drafts win by playing late at low levels is because people don't fully understand how to play really quickly and how to push their early advantage. So that's why heroes like Alina support and Skywrath support end up working out, even though technically they shouldn't, because they scale well, and your early weakness is not punished by the other team, who I would say has a fairly strong early draft. And boy, you sent me a 1-hour game, so we'll try to go quickly and hope this doesn't end up like a 2-hour video. Taking a look at the builds and skills in general, it's fairly solid. It's better than the last team one we did, so that's like a difference of roughly 1,000 MMR, I think. And so we can sort of see how that shows through. A lot more standard items. Same with like skill builds. So what I will say about the items real quick, Centaur really needs an Aghanims. It's really good. It's a lot of damage reduction, which is better than, say, an Assault Cuirass, like any one of these, although you still need this. I would say the Assault Cuirass is kind of the weirdest item. Treads is also a little strange on Centaur. I believe Phase is pretty common right now. I don't think the extra strength from this is worth the like the return damage, and generally the extra armor to survive early and the ability to chase down with right clicks is what makes that useful, and is what lets you skip blink. So you get like Phase and then like a Vanguard, a Hood, depending on the lane, and then that way when you have all your return stacks and you pop them, you're able to phase in, you're able to hit, you can run up to them and stomp because you're fast enough. That's kind of why phase treads have been better. Granted, phase treads have been getting nerfed a couple times, so maybe they'll start building treads a little more. But as far as I know, I'm pretty sure phase is still the build. And then again, an Aghanims is, I think, better than this Assault Cuirass. And if the game goes late enough, you can even consume the Aghanims and then build an Assault Cuirass if you really think you want it. I was thinking if it's the most valuable, but I'm not even going to worry about it, because honestly, how often do you have to debate what your 7th item fully slotted is? So we're not going to worry about it too much. Skywrath, these items are fairly standard, except that I'll say... so this is one of your questions, right? That you have a 4 and a 5. This guy's a hero spammer, which actually isn't that big of a deal, honestly. I know you were saying, like, can I convince him to play other heroes? But of all the people you could have spamming heroes, support is much better. So, like, I had a friend who would spam carry heroes, and so it'd be like, no matter what happens this game, I'm playing Lifestealer. And then it's like, he'll first pick Lifestealer, he'll wherever in the draft, but it's Lifestealer. And so there's, like, no flexibility in the carry role from that. Whereas at least if you have a support, someone has to first pick in your team, and it's almost always a support. So, honestly, playing Witch Doctor and Skywrath is not too bad, in my opinion. Witch Doctor is a really solid support in almost every lineup, and I think he's a really good 5. Skywrath, I think, should generally only be a 4. And I will say, though, that if you only play Skywrath, like, Witch Doctor is very flexible in any draft, but Skywrath is a bit more limiting because all he does is output magic damage. He doesn't bring crowd control, he doesn't bring... I mean, technically he has a slow and a silence, but he doesn't have, like, hard stuns. He's very squishy, only puts out damage. And that limits your draft in the sense that other people kind of need to adjust to that. So, I mean, in a pub, like, in a 2K pub, anything will work. And honestly, being good at a few heroes is probably better than playing a wider variety and like counter picking, but you're playing a hero you're not as good with. So honestly, even if all he does is play 2 heroes and suddenly he decides, okay, I'm going to try this 3rd hero, he's going to play really badly. So sometimes it's fine to be a hero spammer. Having said that, we'll see about the playstyle itself, because just because you spam a hero, there's always room to improve. So I'll see about that when I get there. So in terms of items, though, going back to that, I think this Kaya is pretty unnecessary because, again, this is just like more straight up damage. And what your team is lacking right now that I notice is no one has a Scythe. The Scythe is really good. Like, skipping ahead a bit, look at this Ember Spirit who's balling out of control. 27, 5, and 20. What is your game plan to kill him right now, looking at your team? Let's assume he has a Remnant down. Even if he doesn't have a Remnant down, he has a BKB. So what, are you going to blink Stomp on him? Stomp has a long cast time. If this guy is anywhere on his game, he'll just Remnant out, he'll pop BKB, get out. Who else? You run in and silence him, BKB, useless. You Yules into stun, your timing has to be really sick for him to not get his BKB off or Remnant out. Monkey King, at best, can use his stun from a tree out of sight and then leap in, and I guess Abyssal Blade, which probably came pretty late, right? And that can work. But, you know, this guy's pretty tanky, so in about 3 seconds of stun, 4 seconds, something like that, you're going to have to kill this guy, which is pretty tough. And granted, it can set up, like, you a bit, but you don't have a blink, so you can't even, like, easily get in. So it's tough, is what I'm saying. Drow, silence him, he BKBs again. Same thing. So really, the whole game plan is Monkey King has to initiate on Ember Spirit, has to land the stun, has to land the follow-up Abyssal Blade, and then you guys can chain it. And that is your one way to kill this Ember Spirit. Whereas if any of you has a Scythe, mainly you two, possibly even the Drow, now suddenly you have other ways to kill him, and the Scythe is good against like all of these guys really, but thinking about their cores, he has the same issue where Rage is really good, and so if you can Scythe him before he can Rage, then you're actually able to chain stun him, which is really good. It's just the instant ability of a Scythe is very strong. The Shivas is kind of weird, like Centaur's probably a better Shivas carrier. So, I mean, I'm not a Skywrath spammer, but personally I think if you want to do bots, I guess that's fine. I think most people rush the Atos, like get a couple Null Talismans, rush Atos. Bots after that, sure, if you want. And then I feel like a Scythe, a Force Staff to help yourself and your team, E-Blade, because to an extent you are a support. And once you like have the Atos, that's kind of enough to get those like mid-game kills. And then you don't really need to transition hard as a core. But even going for a Scythe after that would be more useful than having these two, I think. But let's skip forward past that. For Lina, so I know you're saying that you tend to play as a core kind of way, but I think you still need to open up as a support, and it'll still give you a lot of opportunity to transition into a core. Because that's why people like Lina right now, and I see Lina 5 in some of my games, and it works. Like, she's not a traditional 5, and what it forces me to do as a 4 player is to play less greedy, which can work in a draft, and especially if you're playing with friends, then like it's just fine, you know. But you still want to play as a support early. So for example, one of the reasons she's good is that she gets this cast range talent, she gets an Aether Lens, and suddenly she has this AoE stun that is like an 8-second cooldown, 7-second cooldown, and she can suddenly cast it from really far away with both an Aether and the cast range talent. And so then you're just like sitting in the back line constantly throwing out these AoE stuns, and that sets up all the kills for yourself or for your team. So the build tends to go, you get Arcane Boots, you disassemble the Arcanes into an Aether Lens, and then you build a Yules. And that way you can do the Yules combo from really far, you can do just blind stunning really far, and it gives you all the mana regen you need to spam out spells, which is how you then transition to a core. You stack camps, farm them with your AoE spells, you push out waves, And then you have the mana regen to do that with that start. And then you can build into, like, an Ags is pretty common, honestly. Daedalus is a little weird, but I guess if you're a core, it's not too bad. Although I kind of feel like Bloodthorn might be good. Like, if he's... I mean, I know he has the BKB, but, you know, just the silence in general, plus the crit, seems good, but Daedalus is more straight-up damage, technically. And so then in terms of the talents, I think the cast range is much better than the damage, especially for a support. If you want to get the Light Strike Array, that's fine. 350 health is a lot, so it kind of depends on the game if you're getting killed a lot or not. And then if you want to transition into a right-click core, then I suppose the Fiery Soul talent is what you want. But a lot of times support Lenas go for the Aghanims, and so then they want the Spell Amp so that they have this huge burst of pure damage. And then you also, like, you're constantly throwing out Dragon Slaves and stuns, which is just more magic damage that gets spell amped. And then, honestly, I'm not sure what support Lenas do in terms of attack range and slave cooldown. I feel like slave cooldown is the way to go, because who can ever push high ground if you kill all the creeps in 2 seconds? But, again, if you want to transition to a core, then I suppose the attack range is probably what you want. Phase Boots is a little unnecessary. You only get 12 damage on a ranged hero. The 4 armor is, like, nice for you. But really the goal of support Lena is to be in the back range where no one can reach you, and you'll have all that cast range, talent, and Aether, so that it is very hard to reach you, and then you just, like, throw out spells, so you don't really need armor. And then the movement speed, eventually you'll get Fiery Soul stacks, and then you're pretty fast, plus the Yules, so then you don't, like, really need the active from this. So leaving it as regular boots after you disassemble your arcanes, or I guess you could build Tranquils, but that seems unnecessary. It seems like it would just slow down your Aether or Yule's timing. You can get it if you want, especially if you're, like, against a Bloodseeker or something. But I would probably just leave it as plain old boots and maybe build bots later in the game. Monkey King, your items are fairly standard. This Desolator is a little weird. I'm going to see what context you bought that in. But it's a little unnecessary for 2 reasons. One, Monkey King kind of already does a bunch of damage. Doesn't really need the Desolator. And 2, your other core is Drow, who ignores a lot of armor anyways. So then having that minus armor doesn't really benefit her at all. It benefits her a little bit, but it's kind of not... It's not necessary, so I'd rather see something else. Specifically in Aghanims. And Aghanims is really good on Monkey King right now. It's pretty standard. Like Phase, Echo... Some people rush Aghanims right there, but I think maybe, like, one more item in between. Like a Maelstrom is pretty common, Diffusal, and then the Aghanims. Those are really good. Basher into Aghanims I think is fine too. Monkey King Bar as a 3rd item is a little weird, so maybe not that one. But besides the whole Aghanims and Desolator, I think this build is fairly fine. Oh, well, I will say, though, for your talents... most people get the cast range talent, and then in fact, I don't know if any of you have, like, the Dota Plus, but some of you can see here. So where is it? Here. So look at this one. A cool thing you can do as you switch through here, you'll notice that more and more people will build the cast range talent because it makes you extremely mobile. You can get anywhere on the map. The range is crazy. So it helps you farm a lot faster, helps you be more active on the map, and that's worth more than 75 damage. And don't forget, you have to hit people 4 times before you actually get that damage. So for a lot of his game, this talent is actually doing nothing, except for, like, these very brief moments in a fight. And so what people have realized is that having this extra mobility to farm faster is worth more than having 75 damage at this time. And then you'll also see the command ring is, like, highly favored. The reason you'll see, like, a positive win rate on this is because people hit 25 as they're about to win the game, and so they'll meme and do another one. But generally this is, like, what you want because it gives you this huge area where supports cannot enter in the late game. Like, your clones will just kill them. As a 4 player, I hate it. It's so irritating. And so when you're finally sieging towers, you just drop this huge ring and then you just hit the building, and it's very difficult for the enemies to walk up and stop you. And same when you're defending, you just throw it out, and for as long as your ult lasts, which is what, 13 seconds, like, it's very difficult for anyone to approach. So it's extremely powerful when you have... Oops. have that. What am I looking for? Watch tab. Here we go. Drow. These are fine. I might change. Actually, I don't know what order she bought them, so I'm not sure. We'll see in the context. It's kind of weird to me she took the Tome of Knowledge, but maybe that was a... we'll see what that was. I don't know. And we won't worry about it because she's a random anyways. In terms of talents, most of this is fine. I would say you don't need to max Fiery Soul because honestly you don't have the mana to actually cast enough spells to make it worthwhile. Just max Dragon Slave and that'll give you a lot more ability to push waves, deal damage to enemy heroes. When you stack camps and then Dragon Slave them, like that's how you clear it quickly, more so than having Fiery Soul stacks. I would say you max Fiery Soul last, even on support Lina. Your spell damage is just like more valuable. The increased stun time on this Light Strike array, all of that. And you're not really right-clicking in the beginning of the game. You're mostly spells, and then late game, maybe then you're right-clicking. And if you want to build that way, it's fine. But you probably don't have right-click items until like around this point when you can have Fiery Souls maxed out. So in this early point, when you're more about spells, I would definitely recommend maxing Dragon Slave, and then this one. These two are right. You definitely start Light Strike, and you get 1 point in Fiery Soul, but just max it last. Talents. I already talked about that, actually. Okay, so let's actually start the game. We're already 16 minutes in, haven't even begun the game. We're going to zoom along, though. I'm going to just try to look at a bit at the laning stage, and then we'll kind of like jump forward and just look at some general decision makings. So let's look at items. You guys should share tangos with your boy. I think you're approximately at the MMR where this should be more common between the two supports. Alright, so let me talk about this first. This is not enough regen for you guys, in my opinion. This is pretty common. Let's see, what can you build? The Mantle of Chalice. See, this is why I think Lina should be a 4, because this build is not so bad on a 4. But as a support, I think, or as a 5, I think you want more tangos. A lot of the lane is decided by tangos. And actually, Skywrath, this is fine because Skywraths tend to suicide, so they don't need 2 sets of tangos. So I guess this is okay. I don't play too much Skywrath support, so I won't focus too much on that. This is good, though you could probably spend a little bit more money. Where did Monkey King go? Here. Oh yeah, so you guys want to share some tangos. That's why, like, if you only have 3 and then you both share 1, that puts you only at 2 tangos, and that's like definitely not enough. Maybe for Skywrath, because again he'll just suicide. But for your 5, that's not enough. So if at least one of you buys 2 sets of tangos, and then you share 1 or 2 with him, and then you're left with like 4 tangos or maybe 5, then you're still in a very good spot. And then this guy doesn't have to buy tangos. He buys 2 iron branches. He'll use the shared tangos on the branches to essentially give him 4 tangos, and that just helps out the mid lane. And so then he would have 100 gold left over, which he could then buy. Well, it depends on your mid hero, but like he could buy a Fairy Fire, he could buy nothing and just save up. He could buy a salve with the bounty rune gold. That's pretty common for mid players. We'll see if that happens. Small efficiency trick, you can move the courier out like to about here. But that's like real try hard mid stuff. You don't have to worry about that really. Generally, I want at least someone to have a salve in this bottom lane. So if the carry doesn't have it, then I like to have the 5 have it. And so that's why, like, you want these because they give you damage, but how do you afford 2 sets of tangos, a salve, and then, yeah, you want a couple mangoes maybe for Lina. Maybe just 1 mango because she does have a high mana pool. Like some of these. I would have to do the math on checking out the items. But, I think I said this in the last game too, but you like... Skywrath is fairly fast, you know? He wants to get out here and scout this stuff. I won't repeat it too much because I think you watched the last one, so there's no need to say it again. But it's the same deal of you want to get out and scout a bit, not just like stand right here. And you see this guy. And it's going to be pretty hard for you to zone out a Timbersaw and Tiny. That's scary. Okay, good stun timing. Yeah, you don't want to trade with them right now, I don't think. Actually, wait, what happened? Because I looked top. Let me see. I think this is what you were talking about, where the drow could have stayed a little bit to help. Okay, so she hadn't started anything yet. So claritying, was that a bug? Oh, I think it was. Okay. I was going to say this is not a good time to clarity. So yeah, I would say drow probably should have stayed here at this point to auto attack with you. A lot of drow start frost arrow level 1. Ooh, that's unfortunate. I think you would have killed him if you landed that. Here, back up a little bit. So when you miss this stun, you don't actually need to stun him yet, right? Because he was still well within your auto attack range. And you have one of the farthest. It's one of your strengths as Lina support. Like, you can attack all the way there. So when he's standing here and you're standing right next to him, if he wants to run, you're still free to auto attack him and wait till he's like committed to running away and he's down here and you know that he's just trying to get away, and then that's when you throw the stun so that then you can auto attack and move up closer and finish the job. Or if he does what he did and then cuts back to try to juke you, like at that whole point you're just auto attacking, so there's nothing to juke, and then once he's around here and he's committed to running away, boom, you drop the stun, and that even has the benefit of destroying all these trees, so now you see him, and then you probably could have killed him on your own if you had hit that stun, but not a big deal. So Tango and Clarity up. That's alright. But see, you're going to run out of Tangos real quick. You're going to probably use another one to get up to full health, and I'm going to say you probably didn't even need to do it. Alright, so don't waste... Well, actually, I don't know how you guys are playing. I'm going to guess you were typing there in team chat, telling him, like, hey, help me kill. Sometimes if you don't use mic, I guess there's no choice. But I always say, if you're typing, you're not playing. And so, like, the lane has started and you're back here, you know? So, even if you're right, which I think you are in that case, like, could have been there to help, you still want to, like, come out and start harassing.
Don't you dare.
Okay, she got that one. What happened to the range creep? So your job here is actually to like run up and then stun, use your stun to secure this range creep. The range creep is super important. Is he gonna deny it? He misses the deny, which is good for you guys, but it's you want to secure them. That's the other thing about Lina support. Three-ish jobs. One, harass a bunch with your long range and your stun. Every time they come up to get a last hit or something, you drop the stun on them. I mean, not every time, but that's a great time to do it. And then secure the range creeps with your long range. Light Strike Array is not that long range. Later, when you have Dragon Slave, that's a great way to secure it. Your long range auto attacks are a good way to do it. You have a decent amount of damage. But the LSA into an auto attack, or just straight up LSA, is a great way to secure range creeps because you stun them and deal damage, so these guys can't even like try to deny it because they're stunned. And then the third thing is to deny range creeps. So when these guys walk up to try to get the last hit, you stun them, and then you deny it. Those are the three major things Lina support should do. Alright, let's take a look at top. Actually, let's take a look at mid real quick. Okay, I'm not going to do this for everything, but for the starting couple seconds of laning, I'm going to take a look at everyone's lane because the first few minutes decide a lot. Okay, let's look at you, buddy. So I would buy the mid thing to do. There's a lot of mid guides. I won't go into it too much. But generally, if you mid, you get the shared tangos, 2 iron branches with a bounty rune gold. Buy yourself a salve. And then from there, then you can buy whatever you want. Actually, sorry, I was like watching, but I wasn't. So let's start again. The mid matchup is like very decisive. Okay, so at this point, you've lost the blocking war. So what you want to do, you like circle around here. I know this seems really minuscule, but like you need to do this immediately as much as you can. Well, it really depends on the matchup, which is why it's like there's other guides for it, which is better. But what I would recommend you do when you lose the block like this, you come up here immediately so that these guys can see you, auto attack, click him. You don't actually walk up. You don't have to walk up to do it. If you can get the auto attack, sure. Click him and then immediately back away because it draws the creep aggro and that will pull them down this hill. couple reasons that's important is because right now it's just in a better spot for him and you don't want him to feel free like that. Second reason is that this range creep right now will miss some of these attacks, and that will ultimately push into you, which can be good, but can also be bad, because by the time you don't want to get double waved into your own tower. So if you pull the creeps, these guys will walk into here, these guys will walk down here, clear off their creeps, the tower will kill these creeps. Once this guy dies, you pull their creeps into your own tower, and it kind of like resets the lane, and then it'll be back to here. Or it can. I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't worry too much about that, because it is like very extremely matchup specific. It's very hard to... You could have hit it before that last one, just to like cut your timings a little closer. You don't want to give a chance to get denied. I won't worry too much about specific last hits. I'm sure you understand what you're supposed to do, and it's just a matter of practice. There you go, range hit. So you don't want to wait too much, so what you want to do as Monkey King, I think this is bugged a bit, which is no good, but you want to constantly threaten these stacks, which means you constantly need to like walk up. So like right now, go and hit him. Like go and hit him. Like, walk up. Even if you draw a bit of aggro, that's fine. You'll pull them up your hill. There you go. 2 stacks, that's good. 3 stacks. Ah! Okay, that works. But yeah, you always want to be like running at him in a melee versus melee matchup for Monkey King. Like that's his whole strength. You threaten them. So instead of standing on both sides like this right now, you stand over here so that when he wants to walk up to you, you hit him. And yes, you do have to be a bit careful of all the creeps aggroing onto you. That's kind of why you have the Stout Shield. That's why you need the Iron Branch to drop here and eat immediately to regen, so you don't have to walk all the way back. But you want to threaten him, especially after, like, let's say you stand like this, and that's okay. He walks up, you get 1 or 2 auto attacks off on him. Then you definitely want to stand over here after that, because he knows if he walks in, you're going to hit him that at least 1 extra time, and even if they start aggroing onto you, you're about to get your 4th stack, and you'll just regen all that damage. You don't even care anymore. So now he just can't approach until those 2 stacks fade, and he has to back away. And that's how you kind of zone him away so that he can't even contest last hits and denies. But when you stand on either side of this, you're not making use of your increased range as Monkey King, and you're not making full use of like what Jingu Mastery is meant to do, which is to scare him away in a melee versus melee matchup. What do you call in? Boots are kind of unnecessary as a first item as well, because what do they add to you? Let's think about how much you've moved in this game. Like that. That's about it. That's all the movement you've done, right? So what does 50 extra movement speed matter when you're clicking back and forth for a last hit? It's like very little. And it's not 50 anymore. It's plus 15%. But that roughly translates to 50 for a lot of people. So Boots' first item in the mid lane is like generally really bad unless you're against like Ursa or something who has the threat of running you down, in which case you might have had to start Boots, honestly, but there's very few cases where Boots first is useful for you. So it could be useful for you. Blades of Attack could be good for you because you get more damage to help contest these last hits. Or right now, all you've been doing is trading right clicks with each other, right? And these melee creeps also do physical damage to you. So starting Chainmail would be great. Plus 4 armor, that would give you a ton. Probably about 30%. Right now you're getting 3 from this tower, which isn't like a fair... So like generally you're at 1%, which is like... Or generally you're at 1 armor, which is about 5 or 6% physical resistance. So getting a constant plus 5, since this is 4, you'd have 5. That's about... I mean, you're at 19 now, so it's roughly 25%. And that would be really good. It lets you do that whole aggro thing here, and you don't have to worry so much about these creeps hitting you because they're doing reduced damage, plus some is being blocked by the Stout Shield. And every time you guys are trading right clicks and he harasses you with Sleight of Fist, it's getting reduced by Chainmail. So starting Chainmail would help you a lot in the lane, more than movement speed. So now, let's go here. And then after this, I will not focus on like everyone equally like this, but it's just the first few minutes that, again, I think really determines a lot. Oh, you bought your stout. I like that. I like that a lot. But I actually don't know if that's, like, useful. I think having a teleport scroll is, like, actually efficient. For the sake of you run in here, pick it up, can immediately move. Or, like, you're in the middle of TPing out, and you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot to buy another TP scroll. You click whatever button. But this is funny for memes. I like that. So, who have you... Just to clarify, maybe you've already decided this. Do you know who you're supposed to harass in this lane? Did you click on them? I didn't watch you, so maybe you did. This guy actually has very little tangos. 3. He has 1 fairy fire. It doesn't matter that much. This guy has 4 tangos. 2 mangoes, which gives him passive regen as well. And this guy has to auto attack a lot to get his regen from here, which does add up, but at the same time, in the early laning stage, you don't auto attack that often. You're only getting that last hit. So, the other thing, though, is he does have a lot of health, and this guy's fairly squishy. Absolutely worth committing an Arcane Bolt to secure the range creep. Definitely do that. So in this case, doing 10 damage to this guy. Oh, it's a little more. It's like 30 maybe. It's way more important, or it's not as important as trying to get a last hit. If this guy cannot hit your last hit, then go for these last hits. This is your chance. This is the, supports aren't supposed to farm that much, but if a core is not going to get that last hit, that is all you. Get your gold. And especially commit spells to get the range creep. Think about it as if the range creep is worth half the creep wave. I say this a lot where it's like, that's not fully true, but think about it that way, because that will help you prioritize, like, oh, I got these 3 melee creeps, but I lost the range creep. That's actually, like, kind of bad for you. It's, like, okay, but it's not the best. And if you can think, oh, I got the range creep and I lost the 3 melee creeps, it's like, it's not so bad. I got, like, half that wave. So, like, really prioritize the range creep. Definitely worth using your spell for it. And then just keep bolting this guy. Don't give him time to heal up. Because right now, he's not scared to approach you. He's just, like, near you, and he's not... like, he doesn't think I'll die, right? So he can walk up. Whereas if you commit, like, 3 bolts really quickly and auto-attack him, and then he gets to about 100, 200 health, now he is scared to walk forward, because if he walks too far, you'll bolt him 2 more times in an auto-attack, and he might die. And now he has to, like, stay further back and wait for his regen, and he essentially cannot do anything. Whereas if you bolt once and just wait a bit, now he's getting to use his mango regen, he'll just use 1 tango, and then he feels fine. He can auto-attack for last hits and denies, and he's willing to come up front, but don't let him be willing. Commit a bunch to get him low, and then let him be useless in the back while he waits to heal up. I would just be bolting a lot. Also, I forgot because Drow's not in the game that much anymore. Depending on your supports, if you have a Drow, sometimes building like some extra Fairy Fires and Iron Branches can be really good for you, because you get that bonus attack speed to help you trade. So like on Rubik, I think my game just before this, I had a Drow on my team, and I built, instead of like the usual mangoes and stuff, I think I went double Iron Branch, double Fairy Fire, because I had a better improved attack speed and was able to right click more. So that's something you could possibly do on Lina. You can't really do it as a 5, but if you were playing a 4, I might consider like dropping a mango for like a Fairy Fire or something for extra attack damage, because of this. All right, back up here. There you go. All right, so now this is what I was just talking about. Now he should be scared, right? So let's see, where does he position? And in fact, let's allow both fog, right? Where does he stand? Can he help contest that? Like, this guy still got it in the end, but it's a lot closer now that it's not like both of them going for something, right? Because he's scared. Look how far back he has to be. He's still standing back a bit. Now he's a little higher. Now he's willing to show up. Bolt him. Get him. Bolt him. There we go. And now where does he go? He has to run back here again. Can he come up to get this range creep? No. He's gonna dare. He's coming up to use that. Bolt this. It's worth it. Don't let him get these denies. bolt the range creep or bolt him sooner to scare him off. This is really close. You could possibly... Wait. Okay, so you saw him, you bolted, then you can't see it. Cut this tree right here with the tango, run out. What's your cooldown? Okay, so right now, you would cut this, run out, and see if you can bolt him real quick, and then run away. Because that bolt would kill him, and then you get out. You'd probably take 2 tower hits, and that would be fine. Because once you get that kill, you would just run back over here, wait a little bit, so that they don't like get the immediate kill assist, and then you would suicide. That would be your chance to do that whole series of stuff. So right now, while this guy is being scared back here, that's when you want to come up and like auto attack a bit or pull. All right. So now we're gonna zoom forward a bit. We'll play like 2 times speed. Because what are we at? We're at 36 minutes and 3 minutes into an hour-long game. I would not just randomly mango unless you're going to use it. Mango right before you use it, because you do have some passive regen from it, and it like that passive regen is nice. Do I have... Hold on. I had a display... I don't have it here anymore, but I had this like infographic of how much you get from a mango over time, and man, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but what is it? It's like 0.6 per minute or per second, right? Yeah, 0.6 per second. So 10 seconds, you get 6 health, which doesn't sound like a lot, but then that's 36 health over 60 seconds, which still doesn't sound like a lot, but just like over the course of time, it adds up and it matters. So if you don't have to use it, I wouldn't use it, right? Stacking is good. How are you doing? So right now is when you would, with that salve you bought earlier, this would be a great time to salve. Right now, you could do that too, if you have this going. But what if you didn't have this going, and then you're low? You would now have to do what this guy does. In fact, does he have... This is a good example. So he does not have a salve. And what does he have to do? He has to just sit here and watch you last it and wait for this to come under tower. And this is where he now feels safe. But he doesn't even feel that safe because you're still near him. Now you've lost a bit of health, so now it's kind of... Now it's about even. Now he's not as worried. There's the chainmail. You definitely want to pressure him. Taking that many tower hits did kind of give up your advantage there. So you do have to be careful with that. I think right there is a good time to like auto attack him once or twice, but we won't worry about it too much. Who's calling this? What is on here? So now he wants a salve, right? Because he's been harassed out. He wants to be a little safe. No, he's full health. Why is he buying a salve right now?
You've just achieved first blood.
You really want to leave the courier for mid if you can. That's a very good habit to get into. Where are you? You're low. You can't do anything. You have to throw out all your mana and then... Ah! Ah! I can see what you were trying to do there, and it was just like hard. I'll give credit, you know. This is where hotkeys can be very helpful. I don't know if you have this bound or not. You know, just make it invincible or press like click down here, shift click Q so that it runs back. That's my hotkey for return to base. It doesn't, like, the usefulness of it doesn't come up that often, but you know, cases like that, that's when it can help. If you want to practice it a little bit, you can. So for you, boots first. Boots first is fine as a support, but I wouldn't be building into phase boots. I don't think that's useful. I would buy... He uses Whirling Death a lot. I feel like you should probably have bought a stick from Side Shop if you had the chance. I'm not sure if you did. But right now, instead of boots, I might be buying... No, I think I probably would buy boots.
Denied.
At this point, auto-attacking him is pretty pointless. 2 points in this, plus this. This guy's off to a pretty good start. Sometimes you can harass the heroes out. Harass this guy out early. You guys don't have a great duo for it. You possibly could have, but get that last hit. 9 gold. Nice. Trying to pull or stack. Okay, stack. That's good. Yeah, this is tough. It's pretty hard for you to do anything in this lane at this point. But actually, this isn't so bad for you. I don't know if you did this intentionally or not, but getting this guy to level 6 really quickly is actually really good for a tough lane like this, because then he can just get out and go jungle with his ultimate. And then you sit in the lane where you've maxed out Dragon Slave this time instead, and every time it comes close, you just Dragon Slave and clear out the creep waves. And then that way you can like solo hold this, and we'll actually just see if that happens. I'm just talking about it, but don't even worry about right-clicking him to harass. It's like not even worth your time. Essentially, this is what will happen. Yeah, it's like, see how little that did? And he's also going to heal it up. If you're just sitting there and waiting, usually you harass the offlaner. Against Timbersaw, it's not worth your time. So just look to try to deny or secure last hits, harass this guy if he happens to come in range, or just like stand behind the drow and just let her do her thing. Possibly go and pull. I'll be better. Who am I on? What did you buy? Nothing. That's fine. What? This is not good. The drow should not be using it like this. That's nice. With Skywrath, you could potentially get a kill. I mean, I'm not a Skywrath player. I think a point in Ancient Seal might be better. For some of these ganks, like on this guy to prevent him from using his spells if you were to gank him, this guy so he can't use like chains. I think a point in silence is probably worthwhile in this game, but I'm not the Skywrath player. I'll leave it up to you. Got your phase boots, that's good. So at this point, you're kind of losing mid. If you want to do this, I think you have to stay on this tree. Yeah, I mean, you don't get this kill unless you commit Monkey King ult. And so generally the tactic would be you commit the ult from the tree and then either stun him or silence him. Into the other, so either you stun and then he silences, or he silences and then you stun as the silence is about to wear off, so that he's stuck in the middle of Monkey King ult, and the Monkey King ult is what would possibly give you enough damage to kill this guy before he just remnants out. But just auto-attacking him like this will almost never get the kill when you're a bit behind like that.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
How's your warding? Okay, you have a free roaming Tiny, I guess that's fine. I mean, it's not your job to figure this out, but I kind of think this drow should just leave. Instead of TPing back right here, I think she should like TP to this shrine and just like start farming this stuff. That's what drows do. Vanguard first, that's fine. But I think phase first. Vanguard into like phase boots, I think that would be pretty good instead of these treads, because this guy like only does physical damage pretty much, so having that armor would be especially helpful for you. Speed up a bit. This video will go way too long if I watch all of it, I think. So let's just skip forward, do a checkup on where we're at. So I already talked about itemizations. Daedalus second item is definitely not the way you should go. But I already talked about itemization, so I won't do it again here. I guess this is okay. It's a little unconventional. So right now, you guys are losing by a bit. So what would I say you guys should be doing? So first of all, when you're losing, you need to choose one of these to secure. Here, let's switch it to player perspective while I talk like this. You need to choose one of these to secure for your team, especially a drow. And generally the one you choose is this one because it's easier to secure and it has the ancient creeps there. So put your wards on either edge, make sure to de-ward this, and just secure one if you're losing. You can't hope to get both. Oh man, this guy is huge. And what are his items? This is an issue. Yeah, you guys win this game apparently though, so. Yeah, so Deso first if you're behind. Oh, Deso first before even the Echo Saber is actually really not good. You really want the Echo Saber. Why? Because the whole Jingu Mastery thing, right? You just don't do enough damage to kill until you get 4 of these. And the immediate double hit plus the slow almost always sets you up for a 3rd hit. And then the Q, if you have to, if they've escaped a bit, or by that point you should still have phase boots to just keep running up to them and auto attack again. And then you can stun them or something. So Echo Saber is almost always the item for mids, I feel like. Possibly a farming item like Maelstrom. I don't play that much Monkey King mid, but I'm pretty sure that's what I usually see from my teams.
Radiant structures have been snow fortified.
I don't know if you really need these Wraith Bands. I think you can kind of like just skip them and buy the Echo Saber really quickly. I guess it was okay. Kind of protected this. I might wait for him to engage.
Tower is under attack.
I'm okay with you building one of these first. So you started the Vanguard, so building into a Crimson Guard to start is good. And I still think phase boost, but Power Tread's okay. But then I think you probably need a Blink at this point. Because you're the initiator on your team. And like, it's going to be real hard. I mean, it's going to be hard to Blink initiate on these guys anyway, but someone has to try it. And I think it kind of has to be you, so you kind of need the Blink. And you do have the Ags queued up. I wonder if the game was bugged and just not showing the Ags? We'll see.
Damage empowers me.
Nice! That is a huge kill for you guys. Don't even worry about chasing him. None of you can pierce BKB. Start farming or something. Farming and pushing in mid. Okay. I would almost never bother committing Mystic Flare onto this guy unless you know Rage is down. And even if it's not, even if it is down, if he has his ult, he'll possibly get out of it, you know? It's generally not worth it. Save your mana because, you know, you don't have a lot when you use all these. Solo shrining. It doesn't seem worthwhile to solo shrine on Skywrath just because of your massive mana pool. And so, like, you did that. You even did the efficiency tricks, and you're still, like, barely half, not even half. I would probably just, like, run back to base. You're really fast. And then instead of building a Kaya, just build bots. And that way you spend all your mana, use a town, the scroll to go back, and then buy a new one, of course, and then use your bots to teleport to a lane. And that way you just, like, spam out all your mana, TP home, heal up, bots back out. If you want to play that way on a 4, which kind of seems like it's what you're doing. What are you doing? You're doing BKB first. Because you kind of feel like you need to because this guy's rocking out of control. That is kind of true. didn't want to commit ult on this guy. I guess because he had blade mail. Fair enough. Yeah, so you've got this Daedalus, but you also have like 1500 health. Like, any of these guys will kill you so quickly. That's why I don't really like it. And in general, it's not like a very good second item. I think you would farm faster if you got like the Aether, and then you'd have more mana and stuff. And then you could honestly probably still get that Daedalus at the same time if you were farming better. Also, I think Crystallis gives you more damage than Demon Edge. Maybe I saw that wrong. I thought you bought the Demon Edge first, but I think Crystallis first is more efficient. And being here is pretty risky. I would not recommend it as you are coming to learn. Because even if your team's over here and you're here, it's just like you'll die so quickly it won't matter. No one can help you. Alright, what are you guys doing right now? 4 people top. No one's farming this or this. Even though you're... Actually, you're not even behind anymore because you got those Ember kills. But everyone being in the same spot, not very efficient. I guess this is okay. I think a ward up here would be better than here. Because, like, by the time you see them here, it's like, I'm dead in this jungle. If she's up here farming, and then... Like, if she's... I guess she's here farming, right? And then you suddenly see them here running in, then it's like, I am dead. There's nothing you can do at that point, almost. Whereas if you put it here and then you can see them walk in, you have much more time to get out. And if, like, she's up here farming or here farming, she won't even have time to, like, see them. This is an extremely risky teleport, but I guess it's fine. What do you have? Now you have it. Shiva's. What does Shiva's do for you? He does a lot of physical damage, but has he been focusing you? I guess he can. I kind of feel like these guys just burst you down immediately, and that doesn't, like, this doesn't give you any health or anything. And these kind of D-wards are like, it's going to be very obvious that you have wards here, so it's just going to get immediately D-warded back, and if you risk your life for it, like, it's no good. Like, if you don't know where they are, you need, like, a full team here. Otherwise, this kind of stuff is going to happen. Just because you can D-ward doesn't always mean you should. Sometimes it's enough to just know that the enemy has a ward there. Okay, but pushing in this lane while that's happening, that's good. Okay, I would be scared because I only see these two, but pushing in a side lane is good. And you see it looks like they're committing. You have your ult to get out. This is a very good space.
Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to take this abuse. Radiant have
I don't know if I would have TP'd here. This seems a little risky. I feel like you could have just kept running away and now go farm like this area a bit, or just run away more and then TP out. Just continue that space creation, and now you're also farming over here, and if the lane pushes back, you can like push in again. But now you're come back here and like nothing really happened. In fact, you just like went to base and then walked out, right? But instead you could have been farming this bottom spot. Just bring yourself a clarity or something, be good on mana. Try to keep TP scrolls on you. That's where having the slot as a TP scroll could be helpful. Now you have the Echo Saber. If you're smoked, this guy should go first because he has the Shadow Blade. And the problem with smoking at night is actually like perfectly demonstrated here. By the time the smoke breaks, now you both see each other at the same time. He doesn't even know you smoked in here actually because of like his lack of vision from nighttime. And you guys don't even get the jump on him because you are just seeing him now too from the night vision, and it didn't matter that you were smoked. I mean, I say you don't get the jump on him, but if he just doesn't react, then it's, you know, fine, but... let's watch this fight a little closer. It's kind of a turning point fight, and it's part of why you might start to win. So first off, you've damaged this guy a good amount, so he can't do too much. Next. This is a very good Monkey King ult. That's gonna help you a lot. I mean, you are doing a lot of damage with this dataless second item. I mean, you're right. Sometimes it works. It doesn't feel like it should work. It feels like they should just kill you right away. And that's part of why it worked in this fight, is because you guys technically got the jump on them by smoking in, even though you didn't necessarily need to. This push is looking risky. Okay, yeah, get out. This scares me, but okay. Try to get out together, guys. So you don't, like, feed pick-off kills. 56 minutes. Alright, Roche. Was that the first Roche? Did someone get cheese? I guess that was the first Roche. I guess it's technically only 37 minutes. Drow can do Roche pretty early, though, especially with one person to tank. But I guess you guys have been behind. So generally, pushing out a lane is the right thing to do. But your team just got Aegis, and they're like playing aggressively. Like up here, this is aggressive. So should you be bottom? Or vice versa, if you went bottom, should your team still be playing aggressive like this? Answer is no on one of those ends. Which end you choose is up to you, but it's kind of working out for you here. Why, though? She BKB'd and that was enough? Let's go back further. Where is she? Drow. Man, this is... Stand at the top of the hill! You have such a long attack range. Why are you standing at the bottom of the hill where you can't see anything? That's so scary! Okay, so right now that the fight hasn't started and I can see... So... Again, you're smoking at night, which is not the best. And again, think about... What will you do if you get into a fight here? They can teleport in. They can teleport in here. And they can even run through here if they're in this area. So there's only 3 of you at most. So ideally you're looking for one pickoff, but you don't see anyone here. I mean, maybe I'm not going to do it. But maybe you saw one person here and you thought, okay, 3 of us can get a kill. Lina can't come in. Drow's mid farming, sitting in the river, can't see a damn thing. This whole part of the map is dark. So this is kind of like very scary. Here, let's slow down a bit. Okay, so they go on her but fail. So she has time to BKB. Get a good double stomp here. Ooh, nice double stun. I would say I could probably have told you they were all going to run out in that time. So I probably wouldn't have bothered committing the ult. I probably might have just like ran in. But it does work as an effective zoning tool to secure the kill here. But having said that, that was just a tiny who's like position 4. So it's not like super worth it. Whereas if you had used like a zoning ult to secure the kill on like say Lifestealer or Ember, that's much bigger. There you go, follow up stun. For the record, I think support Lina doesn't actually finish these. She just buys these Mantle of Intelligences for the laning to have like the +6 mana, or +6 intelligence, which gives her 6 damage and a bunch of mana. And then I think later she just like flat out sells them. She doesn't even upgrade them to Null Talisman. Buyback. This is kind of why you have to get out together. So Skywrath is out, right? And he's a support. So if anyone could be left behind to die, probably a support, right? The support just left immediately. And now he can't help. Aegis just got popped. Can't commit anything to help. He might get out. So you're over here being gone on by this Tiny. Imagine you could scythe him right now. Someone had one of those.
Unexpected. Dominating, I guess.
I would be amazed to see 40-minute scythe on a support is kind of early. Though granted, you are playing like a core. Cute play. Not gonna work here.
Thanks for playing Dota 2.
I like this ward. That's nice. And this is also a good one.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Never refuse good.
We're just looking at the mini-map right now.
Just as much help as bottom.
Why aren't they pushing? Like, faster. This is part of why you're able to win. They just wiped you, and seems like no one was pushing out a lane. I'm not sure. Can this guy have bots?
Radiant's top tower.
Maybe I
Radiant
missed
structures
something.
are fortified.
Could happen. I guess these items are okay. Arcane Pipe would be nice. What are you building right now? You should build the Basher first, not the Vanguard. Vanguard should be like the last piece you buy. Or like, get the Basher. Then if you want to get the Vanguard, sure. But I would actually say get the Basher and then build your Aghanims. Like, that's how good that item is. It's like so good. So for you, I would have said your build should be like Phase, Echo, Phase, Echo, BKB maybe. Because you were losing, you're forced to get it. Generally, a farming item either before Echo or after would be kind of nice. But since you're mid, you're kind of the space maker. So I would say like Phase, Echo. If you want to get the Deso, then I guess you can. I don't love it. I would rather see a Basher. But like these three, and then a Basher, and then the Ags. That would be super sick.
It's mine.
What are you doing not in the trees? Did I miss that? No, because they're farming it. Immediately get in the trees once you finish a wave. If you want to farm waves like out when it's dangerous, generally what you do is you start from the trees, you leap in, you hit them once or twice, maybe you just stun, and immediately get back in the trees. Don't spend this time walking around. It's really risky. Like, they should have been able to successfully kill you here. And part of the weakness of their draft is their lack of stuns. I was sort of complaining about that for your lineup, but like theirs is even worse, right? Timbersaw, Caudle, his sleep is like very strong, but it's not even like the whole time, right? You have a chance to pop BKB, and then it's like, oh, it doesn't do anything. Same with him. He's like a bit of chain stunning between his spells, and then it's gone. His is a root. He can get a Basher, but until then, like, there's no stuns, and that's kind of why you guys are able to get away like this when you shouldn't be able to. It's also why this guy is going to build a Scythe later on, based on the final item. I want to use this to emphasize how good Monkey King Ring is. We're gonna see some missing particles because I paused. Or like I rewound like that. I don't know if that was panicked, but you stunned and then ulted yourself. So you weren't able to actually hit him while he was stunned. Alright. Monkey King ult right here. Let's Coddle cannot walk in. I want to see him get hit. Look at that.
Unstoppable.
Couple more of those, this guy's dead. Hit him one more time. No?
Double kill.
Look at that. Almost dead. Look at that. So the support cannot even walk in here. And now imagine if you had the full extra ring. You know, this guy, if he tried to walk like this, he actually just dies. And so he has to like stand all the way back here and he can't do anything. Once again, look at all these guys getting hit. Look at all that damage. Look at it. Look at it.
Hello, this is Gabe Newell. Thanks for playing Dota 2.
Imagine the ring's even bigger. This guy's still getting hit. This guy's getting hit. Ooh, a Scotty would have been really good on you too instead of a Deso. I just don't like the Deso, I guess, is what I'm saying. Ultimately, I don't love it. Alright, back to normal speeds. We are now at 1 hour and 5 minutes. About 20 minutes on this game. Let's just speed up instead of skipping forward necessarily. So, looks like you guys are gonna push right now. What am I trying to do? Radiant.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Slow down a bit. Okay. Focus one. I don't care which one, but do one at a time.
Dire's middle barracks is
You're gonna get both in this case, but make it a good habit to pick one, do it, and then do the other. I wouldn't commit your stun just to clear creeps. Remember that whole thing I said at the start is like, what is your kill potential order? It starts with that stun, because that's like the only instant stun. So if you just throw it away, 20 seconds, it's going to be hard to kill this guy, or like any of these guys, without you starting it. So I would save that. This guy should have bought back, I think. You wouldn't even need to be going on him if the ring was larger. He would just die to the ring. It looks like you guys overstayed your welcome a little bit. With this Ember coming back to life, I would have said that's probably your time to get out. I didn't say it, but I forget what I was critiquing at that moment. Oh, the one thing I didn't say, against Timbersaw, Soul Vessel is a really good item. And I thought about it for a while. It's kind of hard. None of you guys, or you're all really bad Soul Vessel builders. Or Spirit Vessel.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Where is it?
Not much good's happening to Radiant's bottom tower.
This one. Spirit Vessel. It's really good against like him if you can get it fast enough, but you guys can't actually get it fast enough. And you guys actually have enough magic damage between Lena and Skarath where it's kind of okay. And she happens to be one of the better carries at it because she can ignore so much armor. But generally it's a good item to get. Skywrath and Witch Doctor are not good Spirit Vessel builders. Witch Doctor's okay, I guess. He doesn't love to build it though. Skywrath is definitely like can't get it in time because he needs to get like an Atos. And Lena doesn't want to build it either. That's why it's like really bad. Okay, you guys see him? What are you building right now? AC? This is definitely where you should have your oh, you even have a blade mail. I didn't even notice that. I don't think a blade mail is like particularly good on Centaur. I think you should just go for the Aghanims. A little too fast. We're not even gonna worry about it though. The mini map, you got 2 lanes pushing it on you guys. Okay. Okay. But now you still have 3 people just standing around here. And this is kind of just asking to get picked off. And you're not this time, but I would generally be worried about it. That's kind of how you throw if you're going to throw. If people are backing to clear lanes, you got to be really careful. Same deal, I would watch your stun. So if you're here, they know where the stun can come from. So really, Drow... And think about it this way. If they go on you right now, what can Drow do to save you? She cannot do anything. Whereas if you swap spots, Drow's up here, you're back here. If they go on Drow, you can drop a stun, an AoE stun at that. And like this guy... oh, he actually does have a BKB at this point. So like all these guys have immunity. Maybe you wouldn't save your Drow, but in other cases where they don't commit the BKB fast enough, like... That's how the person's getting saved, is having that stun. And if you're the one with the stun standing in front, then it's gonna happen. I'm not sure what's happening here, but you guys are in like very split up, despite the fact that you're in the middle taking a tower, and that's no good. It's gonna work out. Someone gotta be carrying dust. I'm feeling sick, guys.
Are those
Alright. This is very scary. Here's how I would say, in a straight 5-on-5, this is how you should approach this tower. If you want to take this from a push, wait for your next wave. Monkey King, ult something like, and you would have the extra ring, right? So you ult something like this. And then these guys are just free. Drow, really, you should stay back and just let him hit. Drow's free to hit this. Monkey King can stand here. He can hit it too. And everyone else just stands like a little spread out back here. So I would say like Skywrath can be back here maybe. Lena here. Centaur here. Maybe swap those spots. I'm saying Centaur down here because the most likely place they jump you from is... Because this is all covered, if they want to go on you, it's probably coming from here or running around here. And even if they wrap around the back, if you're standing up here and he's standing down here and you're just kind of like split up a bit, they have to like choose one of you. And if they go on him, you can run down and drop your LSA. And if they go on you, he blinks in and stomps. So in that way, by splitting each other up, you're giving yourself a way to help each other. And Centaur is the tankiest one here in the most likely spot where they'll go. He's extremely survivable. So it's not at risk of... Well, he is at risk of dying, but it's the lowest risk possible on your team. Oh, he's just going in, huh? Oh, man. You have to die for that, right? No? You've gotta. How can you survive that?
Killing spree.
Alright. You don't die yet. So far, your two other cores have paid the price for your sins. And you're about to die next. Oh, are you gonna get out? Ooh, close. Yeah, you cannot just blink in like that against these guys. That indirectly got 3 people killed, I think. Drow's really strong at 25 with this cooldown talent. Very powerful. Because you can just BKB every fight. Alright, let's see what's happening here. Just give these up. Really gonna kill him? Wow. Okay, Monkey King has to buy back. Drow is not up this whole time. Yeah. So imagine instead. Wait a bit, wait a bit. Alright.
Where did the middle tower go?
Right here, with your double ring, you just ult this entire area. And they will not take... They might commit for this one, and then they'll get out. They will not stay for this one, and if they do, you'll set up for a fight. Running in this way, extremely dangerous. Lena is not yet up. Drow, at this point, you don't want her to have to buy back. 20 seconds. One rack is not that big a deal because you already took their middle rack, so it's like balanced out really, and you guys are pretty good at clearing mega creeps, so it doesn't matter. You guys have this tower open, so you're in the lead in that side, and you still have this outer tier 2, so they can't even get this top. So losing mid is not a huge issue for you guys, but by jumping in like this, you're forcing a fight. He's getting chain stun. He's bought his hex. Just like unable to do anything. He didn't BKB ult soon enough. Now watch this. You ult, and they no longer want to fight you. Soon as this ult is down, no one wants to fight in it. Make sure you drop it down safely from the back. You might have even saved this bear axe because they actually backed away a bit from it when you started to walk up, but then you guys like committed way too hard, and then they were able to get it. I don't think you can just blink in like that, because the blink has to be the initiate, so you can't use it to just like cover distance to get closer. All of them will escape you if you try to do that, generally. Oh no. I'm not even gonna comment.
Bottom tower is under attack.
It's not that important.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Hour 17, long one. I feel like I didn't go into as much detail as I usually do, but it's hard when it's a team. It's hard to go into such specifics. I don't really feel like plate mail does much for you because burst, magical burst, slow burn, but a lot of it. Crazy physical damage. It doesn't even matter if you have armor. That's a support because you actually have a decent amount of health, I guess. But like even with this extra armor, 50% physical resist, but he's got an AC, so I mean he'll kill you. You know, you'll survive a little longer, but and the Shiva's active doesn't actually do much for your team because it doesn't do anything to his attack damage or his attack speed because of the way sleight of hand works, and he'll just rage it off. He doesn't even care. And these guys, they're like, whatever. This guy attacks like once a second anyways. Oh, that Gus talent. They can't even do anything. They should be on strength. You don't really need that much more intelligence. I mean, I know these kind of cost some mana, but like you have very few spells anyways. 900. Well, you'd be down to like 700-ish is enough. Actually, is this a bug? How do you have 999? How is that even possible? That's got to be a bug, right? Or am I missing something? How do you actually have a 9 there? Am I dumb? I thought the mana you got was a flat. I'm losing it. I guess I sorta knew it doesn't have to end specifically on like, I don't know, I think I'm sick. I'm losing my mind. It's been a while since I specifically looked at how attributes worked, I guess. I forgot the change to it specifically. Thought it could only go in like whatever. I can't comprehend. I'm so distracted now. I'm a fool. You don't need this. Your cooldowns are so low already. Throw that on like Skywrath or Monkey King ult. This is really risky. I mean, I know 2 of them are dead, but like an infest bomb between these two, Scythe, Fest bomb, then they just hit you. This can be a kill. So I'd be scared about being alone for any of you. You should be all together, in fact. You should all be pushing bottom right now. Maybe one person who has bots and is survivable, like Centaur, you could push top alone. In fact, yeah, I would like that for Centaur if he had bots, and then he can deal with split push and then bots in.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack. Have fortified their structures.
Just alt. Just do it. Right now. Just alt all of this. I know that right now there's only 3 alive. One is about to be alive, the other can buy back. Just ultimate all of this. They will all be scared to go in. Now, you didn't BKB fast enough. We have all this time. You are now half dead. Now you ultimate. You're getting a lot of armor, admittedly. If you took that talent. In fact, how much resist is this? 96 resist. That is, I admit, that is a lot. But it doesn't really prevent any of these guys from dealing damage to you. The cool thing about Ags is even if you get stunned and all that, the Aghanims will still deal damage. That's another benefit to having it. Really recommend it. He doesn't want to live anymore, I guess. You guys are leaving your drow behind. Pop him out. It didn't really matter, I guess.
Dire's middle tower isn't going to last long.
He's so close. Okay, I like this. This is smart. This is... Whoa! No way. Wow. What a player. That was incredible. I can't believe you blinked out there. I was saying it was smart because you were dragging out the chase, making it like more space. Can't believe you got out. It blows my mind. Why are you smoked? Are you gonna go try to sneak Roche? That's extremely dangerous. So I think you saw what just happened there, right? The 4 of you were feeling confident, and you went to get this, and you left Drow behind, and then the fight breaks out. People are getting bursted because you're standing together. You have to stay spread out. You have to keep it disciplined in a game like this. I have to record another video after this. I don't know if my throat can survive. I kind of feel like an E-blade is the way to go here so that Lifestealer can't hit you, but... yeah, either one of these. The reason Heart isn't as good this game, baller. The reason Heart isn't as good this game is because Feast does damage based on your total physical health anyways. And so does a lot of Timbersaw stuff. So it is kind of still a good item, but it's also like not. So I would say this could be an Ags, this could be an Ags. One of them could be a Halberd if you Halberd, what's his name? Lifestealer, that could be really nice. That's a little memey. I would say that Heaven's Halberd is really good. BKB is also really good for you. I know you're not dying right now, but like when you pop Retaliate, you have a bunch of damage. And if you're just like right-clicking people, it's actually pretty scary. They have no way to like do anything to you. It's crazy. I think BKB would do more for you than a Heart, because then Timbersaw couldn't do anything to you. I guess I should be more focused on this fight. Think about what's happening here. Alright, so You got people TPing in. You're not quite all together, so you are still very squishy and susceptible to dying. I would not walk out this far. Let your centaur do it. Yeah, and you're gonna get initiated on. Oh, that wasn't what was intended, but it's saving you. You need to actually switch your focus. Your job with all your fiery souls, you or Drow need to kill this. Because both of you can actually do it from outside, just about. Especially with your talent. You know, she's doing it, but you know, she does more damage to heroes than you do. So you should be the one taking that out really quickly. And then you don't want to run this way because that's where the rest of their team is. So you want to run this way. I missed where Skyrath came in. It's hard to watch the way. Okay, Skyrath is down here. So you're looking for the tiny kill, it looks like. You change your focus a little bit. So what this has resulted in is you're now in this like awkward spot of like the center, and you're another squishy hero, so you don't want to be like that front line. Whereas Monkey King still coming in, but you guys have put yourselves on the front line, so now you're dead. You throw out the ult because you're about to die. This whole time, Wukong is not out yet, and that's your like strongest team fight tool. That's a bit of a mistake on your part for running in so far without Wukong's. Now he's here. Now the fight starts to turn. Because look how much damage this boy does. And look how 100 armor is doing nothing because they're all running away from you and not trying to fight you in here. And that's why the one ring is almost always better. People already don't want to fight you in the ring. Having the extra 100 armor is like, yeah, they can fight me in here and I take almost no damage to physical, but no one should be fighting me in here anyways. Because all the extra monkey clones and all the Aghanims, if you had it, should be doing enough damage. And we did it! This should be the end of the game. Hour and a half. Alright, I apologize that I didn't go through like all of it super detailed. I don't think I can though. It's just like so long. Let's see. Yeah, so that was about a Crusader Archon game. So now having seen the game, Daedalus did do some work there for you. I've already laid out my argument for the itemization. If you still want to do this Daedalus build, I don't think you need phase, so you can skip that. You could do... I still think Arcanes is good, even if you don't build Aether. Because it just gives you mana regen for you and your team. And if you can spam more spells, then you get more Fiery Soul stacks, which helps your Daedalus. So let's say Arcane Boots, Ewel's. Build the... what's it called? The Crystallis first, if you're going to build this. Possibly consider doing a Bloodthorn instead of Daedalus, because that would at least give you more utility, more mana. It's not more raw damage technically, but it gives you the True Sight, or the True Strike, so that you know you don't miss auto attacks. You silence the target, and other people also get crit, so it's pretty nice as a support item. I would like it more than a Daedalus. And then if you're doing this right-click build, then forget the Ags. Don't like full commit to the right click if you're going to do it. Instead of Ags, Scythe probably. Because at a certain point, you don't need damage. You just need to sit there and auto attack. And a Scythe will give you like 2.5 seconds to do that, which is worth more than having like a little bit more damage, but you're only able to get off a few auto attacks because they've run away. So a Scythe would be nice, or a BKB so that you're more survivable. But I wouldn't do both. I wouldn't do right click and then get the Ags and then go back to right click. But you can do the magic build I was talking about. Do like the Aether, Ewel's, then the Aghanims, and then transition into right click. Then that would be okay. That transition makes more sense. But if you're already jumping to the right click, I would not jump back for burst. Just full commit. And so yeah, so the laning could use some work. I won't like, I didn't strictly go super into laning because, I mean, this would be like a 2.5 hour video if I discussed everyone's specific lanings, but there's a lot of content out there for how to lane better. Draft as a whole is actually not too bad, besides the fact that, you know, these are not technically, they're both 4 heroes and not really a 5, but Lina can get away with a 5, and especially because this is a lower MMR, it's fine. So overall, it's not too bad. You have a good amount of stuns. They don't. If you want to emulate a team, like if you're playing as a group of guys and you're like looking to a team to imitate, to try to improve, I think Alliance, or the old Alliance, they're now Team Liquid, Insania, Mickey, oh shoot, Boxy, Taiga, who did I forget? Insania, Boxy, Mickey, Taiga, Kokwa, Koifka, however you say his name. He used to play StarCraft. They draft around really heavy stuns, which is very easy to play with no matter what MMR you're in, because you just keep stunning people and you get kills that way. So if you're looking to a team to like imitate, I think they're a great team. Very easy to do, as opposed to like other teams that like pull out Pocket Brood or like Huskar Pick, and it's like, I can't play these heroes. I can't play Arc Warden, you know? But the old Alliance, now Team Liquid, the mentality of like, let's just get stuns. You know, it's very easy to emulate. Classic. So you guys had a decent comeback here. Player net worth. Yeah, that Ember was massive. I didn't even see what he did. I mean, starting out the lane, Monkey King, I think you should win that lane. I don't fully understand that matchup. I think you do win that lane to an extent, and learning to play a bit more aggressive is part of that. But I then missed what he did to then go like that crazy. Having a good lane is definitely a start, but usually it doesn't lead to something like that. Yeah, these item timings are not too bad. Like I said, I think you can skip the Wraith Bands, just do the Echo Saber. I wasn't watching too much on kills. I wouldn't worry too much about kill stealing unless it's like really obvious there's a free kill. Then try to give it to your cores, but ultimately like secure the kill. Don't wait between each other. Let me see if I answered all the questions. Did the random drow carry you that game? Why did we win? You won because Ember got a huge start, and then you killed him a couple times, and that like destroys his momentum and completely gets you back into the game. And you're able to do that because he was like too hard. He went in too deep, and you have multiple stuns to kill him. And then you guys scale better. Timbersaw really doesn't do much late game. He is an early hero. He has to play that way. And this guy, like, they lack stuns, and so even though they're like jumping on Drow BKBs and walks out. 5-man commitment to get Drow, and she just walks away. That's no good. And so a draft like this, for them to win with their start, they just needed to like siege better on you guys, I think. I mean, I wasn't really watching their perspective, to be honest, because I was watching you guys, but I feel like you just walk down one lane as a group. Timbersaw pushes one lane by himself because you guys can't do anything to him pretty much, and the other 4 like push down a lane or something, and I don't know. They don't have a great tower hitter though. Like Lifestealer can sort of do it, but he always has to put himself at risk, especially if you have the cast range talents. You know, you stun him and he's stuck way out there, because Ember does not hit towers, and this guy, as good as he is at laning and pushing, and so is this guy, like, they don't take towers. So he's the only one who hits towers, and he did not do like a tower hitting build. Specifically, he does not have a Desolator, which would have really helped him take towers, but this is good for towers still. So they're bad at taking towers. You guys are great at taking towers because you have a Drow. Your team fight is a lot better because you have Monkey King ult, which is fantastic, and you have Centaur ult, which would have been even better with an Ags, but it's still pretty good. And what is their team fight? This guy's ult. that's like their team fight. That's like the whole team fight. The way they have to approach every fight is that this guy blink avalanche stuns someone, and they have to kill that guy. So probably like an infest bomb, and he tries to help a bit, and then he drops the ult on top of it. And if you guys BKB, you ignore him, mostly ignore this guy. You ignore half of this guy's damage, and then there's only him. But if you're BKB'd, you can kite around. And so if we look at hero damage, so like Ember was massive. This guy, 36, which is a little higher than I was expecting. But like just see how little damage. I mean, it's a 60-minute game, so it's like all inflated, so it's kind of hard to directly compare. But I recall seeing them waste a good amount of time on Centaur. He's so tanky, which you'll be even tankier with an Aghanims, because it does like flat damage reduction. And then what else? Yeah, you transitioned to a core, which I guess was fine this game, especially the way it worked out. And then honestly, you guys are just better late game because Timbersaw, it's not really a hero if he doesn't win early. I don't like Timbersaw. It's on my team right now. I just don't think he does a lot. Sorry, Timbersaw players. I just think he's in a weird spot as a hero. Similar with Coddle, his late game is a little awkward, but his early game is pretty good. Tiny can transition well. Did he have an Ags? Where's his Ags? Tiny Ags is so good. You guys are not buying enough Aghanims. Okay, this guy knew to get Aghanims. Everyone else seemed to, like, forget a bit. You got yours, but you don't even have the best Aghanims in the game. And I don't think you even should have gotten Aghanims because you got the Daedalus. Ugh. Your Aghanims is so good. Yours is good. Yours is fairly good. Drow's is okay. His is really... it's not that good. It's like good against Timbersaw, kind of good against Monkey King. His Ags is great. His is good. He got his. Yours, I've never seen a Lifestealer buy an Ags, actually. It's a total joke. So yeah, get Aghanims, you guys. It's a good item on some heroes in some cases. For these guys, it's almost always good. Monkey King and Centaur almost always want to build it at some point. Lena generally wants to build it. Skywrath kind of wants to build it, but I don't blame you for not building it against these guys. Drow sometimes. Okay, that's it. Hour and 40 minutes. I'm sorry to take up so much time. But thank you for watching the whole thing if you did, or even just parts of it. Okay, done.